I reviewed 50 games on the PSVR2. So this is going to be my top 25. So let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Husky Puppy over at NGI, and today in this video we're going to go over the top 25 games out of the 50 games that I reviewed under my belt. Now, before you go crazy, we're going to go from 25 to number 1. Number 1 being the best, the highest of the highest, and 25 being on the lower end for the top 25. Another disclaimer is there's not going to be no GT7 and Crossfire Sierra Squad, because those are games I haven't played or reviewed yet. This list is based primarily off the games I played and reviewed. So as I progress and get more games under my belt, we'll do another top 25. When I hit 75 games on the milestone, maybe we'll do another top 25. Or maybe when I hit, we're already at 50, so maybe 65, we'll do a top 25. We'll start every once in a while. I get a good group. We'll see if my top changes. So with that being said, you're not going to see GT7. I haven't reviewed that game yet. You're not going to see Crossfire Sierra Squad. I haven't reviewed that game yet. You're not going to see a lot of games I haven't reviewed. These are going to be the top 25 out of the 50 I have reviewed. So with that all being said, let's kick it off with number 25, Before Your Eyes. Now, Before Your Eyes is a game that's more story driven, told interactive, but the reason why this one makes the list is because, one, it's not buggy. There's not really a lot of performance issues, if any at all. No crashes, but it's just because it pulls at the heartstrings and it will make you cry. Before Your Eyes. The next one is Res Infinite. Now this one is an older title, of course, but it's the smoothest on the list. It has no bugs, no crashes, but it uses and utilizes the PSVR2's eye tracking feature, and that's what bumps it up on scale, because the eye tracking in this game is insane. I feel like it's super underrated, and plus when you play that freaking X mode with this game with the eye tracking, oh my gosh, dude, the most beautiful visuals I've ever seen in PSVR2. It's right up there with like Red Matter 2 and all that other shit. Like, Res Infinite, don't sleep on it. The eye tracking will change the way you play the game. Next on the list is Swordsman VR. Now, at the time I played this one and being on the top, we didn't really have Skyrim, and Swordsman was like the best physics-based game. Now, there's a lot more, but like I said, this list is tailored to the 50 I played and reviewed, and this one makes the list up there just because, one, this game is fun, despite, you know, if you find out tricks on how to do things and cheese the game, you can, but the customization that the game offered at the time, the weapon selection, the boss fights, and when I hit the Pirates of the Caribbean wannabe level, that shit blew my mind with the Kraken and the rain effects. It really goes to show you what the PSVR2 and the hardware and the software could be powerful enough and could be capable of. And literally, I mean, the game is fucking crazy. I loved it. That's why it's on my top list. And after Swordsman, we're going to be talking about Cosmo Dread. Now, Cosmo Dread is a sleeper. Super underrated game. It may not look the best. It may have N64 graphics and PS1 polygonic ass-fied, trash-fied takes. But this game, oh my gosh, dude. I had so much fun playing Cosmo Dread. I literally played it for a lot longer than I thought I was going to play for, and a lot longer than I thought I was going to enjoy it for. And dudes, do not sleep on this. That's why this one made the list. I love it, man. I can't endorse that enough. After Cosmo Dread, we're going to talk about Angry Birds VR. Yes, Angry Birds made the top 25. Why? Because if you would have told me I'd be playing this shit on my VR headset, I'd probably tell you you're crazy. But it really clicked when I was streaming it, and I played that shit for 4 hours straight. I was captivated. I've never played the Angry Birds in the VR before. I didn't play it on the MetaQuest. I didn't play it on PC. So this was like my first entry into it, and it hooked me. It's bug free. There's some puzzles I got beef with in the game, but it's a solid game. And adding the customization with the cross sharing of the customization levels with the MetaQuest, it's just it's Angry Birds. If you like Angry Birds, if you like puzzles, this one is more of on the casual side, but it's still up there in terms of content and in terms of just the way the game plays. That's why it made the top 25. After that, we got Demeo. Now, Demeo is I see it more as a flat game now than VR, because there's a lot of people just playing it on the computer, a lot of people are playing it with the controller, but you have access to play both. I feel like the VR is where it shines. It's where it originated. That's where the best gameplay you're gonna get for it is. That's where it's gonna shine the most, because it was always made for that first. But with that being said, it is a blast of a game. You get your brothers together, your friends together. You get in there, have some good old dungeon crawling fun. It takes you back to the time of a time where you're not playing games like games. You're playing board games. You're playing Dungeons and Dragons with a Dragon Keeper, and it has enough difficulty to stump you, and it doesn't shy away from smashing you if it really wants to. This game will throw curveballs. This game got a lot of content. Yes, they raised the price of the game, but in terms of what you get for content with that price hike, it is still well worth it, and that's why Demio has made the top 25. After Demio, we got Unplugged Air Guitar, another sleeper on my list. If you love Rock Band, if you love music games, if you love rhythm-based games, you are going to love Unplugged Air Guitar. As much how stupid it sounds to be using an air guitar in virtual reality, and you're just like playing around with your hands with the Sense controllers in the song selection, I had a lot of fun. The game may not look the greatest in terms of graphical fidelity, but the gameplay is where it shines here, and it does an excellent job of taking me back to the days of nostalgic Rock Band or Guitar Hero. And that's why Unplugged Air Guitar makes the list. After Unplugged Air Guitar, we're going to get into Pixel Rip 1995, my boys. This game was way better than the latest entry in the franchise, and that's why this one made the top 25. It has all the creativity, it has all the uniqueness, it has all the nostalgia of giving me like how it was when I used to play games as a kid. This one is where it's at, and I had a blast playing it. I recommend it to everybody, and that's why this one made the top 25 of my list. After Pixel Rip 1995, we got Alvo. Alvo is the closest you're going to get in terms of Call of Duty on the PSVR2. It may not look the greatest in graphical fidelity, but the gameplay paired up with the cross-platform play of the MetaQuest, and I believe PC now, there's a lot of content to be had here. It's fast, it's fun, it's got skill trees and kill streaks, that's what I was trying to say, so you can unleash the dogs on your opponent. It has everything it needs to be that Call of Duty type clone, and there's other games coming out now and already are out that are trying to captivate that audience, but Alvo came first, and like I said, this is based on my 50 games I reviewed, so that's why Alvo and many others are making this list at this time of the period. When I make another top 25, just come check it out, and we'll see if things change. But still, solid game, highly recommended. And let's get into the next one after Alvo, and it's Humanity. Humanity is a flat game and a VR game. It's a hybrid game, and this kind of shows and sets the tale of why we need hybrid games, because this gives you the best of both worlds without losing graphical fidelity, without losing gameplay elements. Yes, it's on the slower pace side. You have to really get through the first, maybe the first world or the second world to really see and understand how this game is, but I promise you, if you keep pushing and you get near to the end and you really see the game open up with the boss fights and the beautiful graphic way of solving puzzles, oh, this game is underrated. It's a gem. It's beautiful, and that's why this one's on the top 25. I love Humanity. I'll be a motherfucking advocate for that, without a doubt. After Humanity, we have Zombieland. Now, this one was another sleeper. Actually, this was like one of my first VR games I've played when I picked up my headset, and I was fucking shocked because I didn't think I was gonna like it the way I liked it, but the game ran smooth, no crashes, buttery smooth, perfect performance, literally crystal clear graphics. There's a couple of glitches, like you can see the cutscenes before you even got to unlock the cutscenes, but I feel like that's been patched by now, and if not, you guys can correct me in the comment section. But this was one of the first games I picked up with my headset, alongside of GT7, of course, but this one really surprised me. And I was like, whoa, if this is PSVR2 and we're already kicking it off with something like this and this quality, I can't wait to see what else happens. And of course, here it is a year later. I've reviewed 50 games. I had a fucking blast, and I'm still going to be putting my time in. So you could definitely say that Zombieland is where it's at, and I recommend it even now. So stay tuned for that. After Zombieland, we got Horizon Call of the Mountain, Sony's IP. Horizon Call of the Mountain. A lot of people are, in different strokes for different folks. You know, you got a lot of climbing. People are not into the climbing. There's not a lot of gameplay elements in terms of the combat because it's limited. But I feel like for an entry point into VR, this was where it's at. It really tested, you know, it really shows the graphical fidelity, the capabilities of the headset. It's a beautiful world. The climbing's a little bit too much. That's the reason why I got a 9 instead of a 10. But I love this game. I'll push this game. I'll advocate for this game because by no means it's not a bad game. You compare it with the rest of the PSVR2 library, you'd be crazy and out of your mind to say this doesn't deserve a top 25 spot. After Horizon Call of the Mountain, we're going to get into Until You Fall. Until You Fall is a beautiful workout type rhythm, roguelike, action-based, almost an RPG. I loved Until You Fall. Again, I never played this game on the PSVR 1 or the PC or the MetaQuest, so this was my first time playing it in PSVR 2. The graphics are great. It has the arms. Everything was smooth, no crashes, buttery smooth frame rate. The gameplay was great. The graphic fidelity is great. The way you unlock swords and the way you do the boss fights, the way they had the boss fights not reset until you finished your run. I loved it. Until You Fall is a very solid game. I recommend it to everybody, and that's why that's on the top 25. After Until You Fall, we got Red Matter 2. This should be no surprise. Red Matter 2 should be on everybody's top 25 list. Where it's going to fall on their top 25 list is going to be up to them, but I'm putting mine right here. Red Matter 2, high fidelity frame rate, high fidelity graphics, one of the cleanest games on PSVR 2, and at a point it was the benchmark for PSVR 2, but as the games come out, there's a lot more hitting that standard, and you can see that this is that point where PSVR 2 games need to be, or VR games in general. It's very story based driven, and I think it might take you about one or two days to play through it, maybe 6 hours. I think I got out of it. I can't really remember. I loved it. The puzzles are a little bit on the whack side, but the gun gameplay when that's introduced and the way the monsters are and just the graphical fidelity is just off the charts. After Red Matter 2, we got Saints and Sinners 1. I actually finished Saints and Sinners 1, and this game, despite me giving it a nice high praise and a high score, I did not like it as much as I thought I was going to like it. But despite me not liking it, like I said, I like to be non-biased. This game is still this game, and if you like this game, you're going to love this game, and you're going to want to play this game a lot. I feel personally that this one's better than the second one, and I still have yet to beat the second one because I feel that second one's more of a chore to play. But I promise you guys, I'm going to get through it and I'm going to get a review on the channel. But Saints and Sinners 1, my gosh, beautiful game, deserves all the praise, just not for me, but it's still on the top 25. After Saints and Sinners 1, we got Moss Book 1. This sets the tone, my boys. Moss Book 1 sets the tone of interactive storytelling in a third-person viewpoint and shows how it can make it work based on a beautiful, maybe kid-friendly story, but yeah, nevertheless, I see people, oh, that game's too kiddie for me, too kiddie for me. They finally go play it and they're like, whoa, I missed out. Moss Book 1's where it's at. It speaks for itself by now if you haven't experienced it. That's why I hit the top 25. After Moss Book 1, we got Switchback VR. Probably one of the greatest games to come back from disaster. Launch was shit. Duty-fied garbage dumpster diarrhea. Trashified. Assified, my boy. Shitified chips. Yes. Shitified chips. Yes. But it came back. They got update. They had the graphical fidelity go crazy, the frame rate go crazy. Everything in this game got bumped up to the max, and now it's finally able to be, I can finally able to market it and say that this game is definitely worthy of the top 25 list as of now, and as of all the updates they did. And I feel like they said there's still another update coming, which is fucking crazy, because I thought that shit was done. Thought it was over with, but I think they're still adding to it. But nevertheless, the way it looks now, the way it plays now, the way it feels now, especially that new added mode, the little horde mode they did, introduces some roller coaster speeds. Switchback VR is definitely up there on the list, and it deserves a spot at the top 25. After Switchback VR, we got Creed. Oh my gosh. Now, Creed, when it first came out on the PSVR 2, with the upgraded visuals and then the online capability, it was alright. The online capability was wonky, but I was still able to get into some matches, so I don't know how the player base is now, but when I did, it was full. They fixed the matchmaking issues. I don't know how it is now, like I said, but this is still the best workout you're gonna get. It's high intensity VR action. You're gonna be sweating playing this game. It's boxing in VR. If you fucking love boxing, you need this game. I can't advocate it enough. I'm a huge Creed player. I love it. I need to come back and whip some people's asses online because motherfuckers try to talk shit, talking about I seen your video. I could get you, bro. I haven't lost yet. I played tons of Creed. I haven't lost yet online. So if you want the smoke, write in the comments. We could settle that right now. I love Creed. That's why it's on top 25. After Creed, we got Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy Edge Enhanced Edition, my boys. Don't sleep on Star Wars. Don't sleep on this game. I promise you guys. It is not the Quest version. It's upgraded, high fidelity graphics, great gameplay. It has all the DLC, so you're not just getting one little world like it originally launched on Quest. There's at least 6 or 7 hours of gameplay here. It is beautiful. There's only one DLC I didn't give a shit about, but everything else is crazy. It's top notch. I can't recommend this enough. It's a reason why it's really high on the top 25 list. It deserves it. It fucking deserves it. You gotta check it out. You gotta get into it. I love Star Wars. I can't advocate enough for it. It's a great fucking game. I need to go back to it. I want to see some more Darth Vader. I need more Daddy Darth Vader. We need more Star Wars in VR. What the fuck's going on here? After Star Wars, this is where we get into the tens category. This is Beat Saber here. Beat Saber. This game's still on the top charts as of now, dominating in sales. It's fucking Beat Saber. This is what everybody wanted on PSVR2, and it finally came out, and it dominated. It shows why. It's the best rhythm-based game you're gonna get ever, in my opinion. You're using lightsabers, and you're hitting the music and the rhythm. It's fucking Beat Saber, alright? Everybody knows Beat Saber by now in the VR industry. If you don't know Beat Saber in the VR industry, then you're not even in the industry. You're just sleeping on it because everybody knows this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. After Beat Saber, we got Pavlov. Now, Pavlov is the ultimate FPS on PSVR2, even PC. I say on all the VR platforms, Pavlov is crazy. The way the weapons work, the way they feel, the way they shoot, the way they sound, the way they incorporate all the elements, like pulling back the trigger slowly and you see the trigger cock back in game. There's just so many things about Pavlov where it's just worthy of being in that high top 25. And I don't see this game getting dethroned anytime soon just because it's hard to even match. There's many VR games like Alvo that try, but the graphics ain't there. There's some other games that I haven't reviewed yet, so I'm not gonna talk trash about. It ain't standing to Pavlov. Pavlov is Pavlov, baby. That shit ain't going nowhere. I fucking love that game. I recommend it to anybody that wants a nice team-based shooter. And there's other modes inside Pavlov to get into. I don't know how the player base is now, but I need to definitely jump in and check it out, because that game is fantastic. After Pavlov, we got Moss Book 2. Moss Book 2 might have done it for me. Moss Book 2 is a masterpiece of just storytelling, gameplay elements, and just VR interactivity and the way the game functions in VR. This should be the standard for third-person games. All right, this is accolades of accolades, deserving all the praise. Moss Book 2 should be the standard for third-person adventure games. I can't get enough of Moss Book 2. I'm just sad that the devs, the Polyoc, they're going in an opposite direction. Something that I don't understand why, but that's on them. But Moss Book 2 stands on its own, and that's why it's really high on the top 25. And now we get to the last three. I think everybody knows what we're gonna be talking about. Propagation Paradise Hotel is literally like a Resident Evil 1. If you would have threw me in the game without seeing anything about who the fuck made it, I would have thought Capcom made it. I don't care if you call me Cap. I don't care if you call me a glazer. I don't care if you're saying I'm sucking the dev's dick. This is the game. If you have not played Propagation Paradise Hotel, you are doing yourself a disservice, because when I started this game, I didn't know how long it was, mind you. I did not put it down until I hit the credits, and when I hit the credits, I was like kind of sad, because I was like, holy shit, I would have paced this out a little bit, but I couldn't stop playing, and that's why Propagation Paradise Hotel is in the top 3. Fuck you if you feel otherwise. After that, this is where you guys are going to fight me in the comment section, because I'm putting Resident Evil 4 as number 2, my boys. Resident Evil 4 is number 2. And then you're probably like, well, what the fuck is number 1? We gotta give it a second. Resident Evil 4 does everything right in VR. It is a masterpiece of masterpiece. It is the latest one that Capcom brought over to us, but there is some issues. It takes a lot of the controlment away, and there's a lot of non-VR AF moments. I don't even like using that word. I even said it in the review, but if you want to know my real thoughts, just watch the review of it. It's doing pretty well in terms of views. I think it's like 600 now. Really high up there for my reviews and my takes. But Resident Evil 4, regardless, top 10, baby. Number 2. And what takes the icing on the cake with number 1? Resident Evil Village. The best Resident Evil. You don't lose any controlment. Cutscenes is in VR. Gameplay's in VR. Stories in VR. Everything's in VR. You know, when you might not be able to roundhouse kick, but when you roundhouse kick in VR in Resident Evil 4, you're looking at your character Leon do it, or you're looking at your character climb up a ladder. This doesn't have any of those issues. You can control the flashlight whenever the fuck you want to control the flashlight, dual wield, dual action, shoot 'em up, bang bang. Resident Evil Village is the best Resident Evil on VR, period. Especially for PSVR2. It's the number 1. That's the top one. Number 1 on my list. Everybody needs to get Resident Evil Village. I mean, really, everybody needs to get at least like the last 5 games that I just said. You know, if you don't get all of them on this list, get the last 5. Get those top 5, baby. Get those top 5. And that's it, my boys. That is my top 25. Now, the best thing about the way I do my list is it's based on all the games I review and play. So my list can change. You know, if I play some more crazy games like GT7, I finally get a review done with that. Shit, that's gonna be on the top 10. I'll tell you that right now. That's gonna be on the top 10. Where am I gonna put it? I don't know yet. I gotta play it, review it, beat it, and that game is way too long for me right now. I got other ideas and other priorities, but just know that my list will be changing in the future. This is just based off my 50 reviews. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I'm your host, Husky Puppy at NGI. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button, because I hope I earned it by now. Excuse me. And I'm going to see you guys in the next stream or video. God bless and peace.